Hello Din Diners, and thanks for joining me back here in the Retro Recipes kitchen. So on the menu today, we're going to be trying to solve what is the holy grail of Commodore 64 problems. And we're going to be doing it by giving peace a chance. Lego pieces, that is. Welcome to Retro Recipes.
Welcome.
Now, I think we can all agree that original C64 hardware is best, but it isn't without its problems. Understandably, some people looking to expand their collections don't want to get sniped on eBay, then when the machine arrives, recap the board, or have to fix faults that occurred during shipping when a trace fractured or a static fried a RAM chip as if it was a ham chip.
There we go.
Sorry, what's that?
It's a ham chip.
Not ham chips, RAM chips. But luckily, you can almost build a completely new Commodore 64 from scratch, one that's never touched a Commodore factory, apart from one thing, a very important thing. In fact, 67 very important things, the keycaps. That should have been 64, shouldn't it? No. So today, let's build the world's first completely new Commodore 64. Now I want to be very clear about my criteria for our challenge, so I've set as 3 rules. 1. Not a single part must have ever set foot in a Commodore factory, even if it doesn't have feet. Number 2. It must be fully compatible, meaning it includes a tape port, cartridge port, and so on. And unfortunately this rules out the upcoming C64 Mini Maxi. Unfortunately, all of its ports and its keycaps are incompatible. And 3. It must be commercially available for anyone to buy, not just a one-off homebrew project. Let's get started. And for this recipe, we need 4 main ingredients. First, you can get new PCBs, such as Gideon's Ultimate 64, iComp's C64 Reloaded, or even Arjan Verslute's clone PCBs, which look so good they probably came from PCB Way with their full assembly service, because as we all know, PCB stands for Pretend Commodore Blues. And we've very generously been donated an Ultimate 64 by Tom Wilson. Not the Tom Wilson, Butthead, I think. At the heart of the Ultimate 64 is an FPGA chip that stands for Field Programmable Gate Array. But remember, FPGA isn't emulation or even a simulation. It's real hardware programmed or wired to recreate the device you want it to become. Well, either way, Tom is certainly not trying to prevent us going back to the future here. And thanks to him, where we're going, Marty, we don't need boards. Because we've got his board. Cheers, Tom. And you can get new cases. These brand new C64C cases from iComp and Pixel Wizard are molded in original Commodore USA factory tooling. Although to fit my criteria, the brand new case that pops out never touched that factory. Now, I bought this one myself a while ago for another refurb, but Pixel Wizard have generously donated us some stickers so we can give this world first a fitting serial number, like 3. Oh, no, wait, no, 1, yeah. And they've given us these snazzy 3D printed Ultimate 64 adapters and keyboard adapters. Because there's even a new keyboard base, the incredible Mechboard 64 by Lau Bricks, kindly donated by him to our little retro channel for this project. It uses Cherry MX or Gatoron switches and comes with 3D printed adapters to fit into old C64 keycaps. But what about new C64 keycaps? Well, so far, anyone buying all these pieces has to put old keycaps as Cherry MX on the top. 30-year-old cherries. Now, don't get me wrong, these still look great, and I know the owner is rightly delighted, but on the other hand, to me it's perhaps a bit like buying a new car and putting a 30-year-old steering wheel on it. You see, so far nobody has succeeded in mass-producing new replacement keycaps. Granted, Thomas Koch of Pixel Wizard fashioned these interesting-looking 3D prints as a one-off, but they're expensive, slow to create, and a little rough around the edges, as 3D printing often is. But there was this Indiegogo campaign nearly 4 years ago, but by all accounts it's completely stalled, with people in the comments extremely angry as Puppyfractic is. Come here, tell us how angry you are. Come on, upsies. Yeah. And the latest rumours in those comments are that the guy has run off to Thailand. I really hope that's not true, and the campaign does eventually come to fruition. It's a tough challenge, so I feel for the guy, unless he's in Thailand. And there are also some homebrew one-offs on forums like the great Lemon64, and plenty of options for Amiga keycaps. But what companies who make those don't seem to realise is the Commodore 64 is better than the Amiga, right? Right. And 4 years is enough. I got tired of tapping my fingers waiting for someone else to make something commercially available and decided we just have to do it ourselves here, today. You see, here's the weirdest coincidence. Lau Bricks, who makes the MechBoard 64, the Commodore 64 keyboard base, well, his name is Bricks, and with the order, he gives you one of these Mr. Bricks, made of Lego. Somehow there's something to do with Commodore keyboards and Lego, and it isn't just me. If you've seen my videos building the full-size Brixty4, Commodore Brixty4, you'll have seen this revelation. You see, I was exploring my real keyboard and I noticed inside the keys, they connect using this axle shape. Look familiar? Yeah, it's the exact same shape the Lego Technic axle pieces use. So I designed the keyboard so that you could actually take off all the Lego keys and put them onto a real Commodore 64 keyboard. And that way you can have something that looks like this, but is fully operational. Oh, by the way, we have a fifth of the votes we need for LEGO to consider mass producing the Brixty4, so please, if you haven't voted and you want to see a brand new LEGO Commodore 64 on store shelves, just take a couple of minutes to sign up and vote at bit.ly/Brixty4. But yes, thanks to that cross shape, the keys were amazingly cross-compatible. I still can't really believe it myself. Now, there are actually only 2 suitable LEGO pieces available that have the desired axle hole in the middle. One is round, the other is squarish. Now, these square ones only come in black or grey, but luckily those are very close to the dark brown and grey of the original keys. I think we'll call these new keycaps the Bricks Key 4 keycap set. By the way, there is no spoon. Those Lego letters from the Brixty4 looked perhaps a little too Lego-ish, and certainly didn't resemble real C64 keys with their Petsky characters and all that. So let's design all new graphics for a full key set of Lego tiles to clip onto the Lego pieces. There, that was easy. No, it wasn't. The font we're using here is the same as you see on some variants of the C64C, Adobe's ITC Avant-Garde Gothic Pro book, originally used by Avant-Garde magazine. Oh. With its meaning of experimental, felt it was the best choice for this experimental project. Or maybe just mental. Sue me. Wait, Adobe, don't sue me. Now, I had originally drawn up these stickers, but I decided we need to do this properly. So let's pay a visit to Mr. Ed Pearson of the fantastic Bricksanity. Now, Bricksanity can print almost anything onto Lego or other plastics using their fancy printer, as you can see here from Lego Perifractic. And the printer is the same type used by keycap manufacturers, so we can be sure that the ink is durable enough to withstand years of fingernails or smacking because you keep killing your Jet Set Willy in the toilet. Now these are just draft prints, but here's a close-up look at the quality of the final print that hopefully you'll be able to order online at the end of this video. So we've got the tops of our keycaps, but what are they going to fit onto? Well, it's time to design our full keyboard full of keycaps. Wait, how is that even possible? It's like one of those Christmas cracker magic tricks. And we'll come back to the subject of the keycaps in just a few minutes. So now we've got our printed parts. Let's start the build. First, I need to free the Pixel Wizard case from its current owner and give that old PCB and keyboard a new home. And what better than a new Brixty 4 case? Now, call me bananas, but my favorite color is yellow. So let's go with this yellow and gray combo. Break a leg, everybody. And then disaster. And so I had to build it all over again. As I've mentioned once before, I used to work in a keyboard factory, but I got fired because I didn't put in enough shifts. And so they wouldn't let me return or enter. Yeah, they even changed the caps locks. Looks like it needs retro brighting, huh? Oh, another time. Beautiful. But while we're here, I want to gauge how fast we can type on original keys compared to Brix keys. So for that, let's fire up 9to5 Typing Tutor by Epix. Wait, what the function key? Why is he chasing her through this very long office? Ah, so if you don't type fast enough, he'll catch up with her, presumably to give her a raise. I'm curious now, what happens if we let him catch her? Oh, goodness. Okay, well, luckily I'm a fast typer. Okay, so with the old keyboard, I max out at 57 words per minute. You're welcome, love. We'll come back to this game when we're done with the new keyboard. Okay, so here's our lovely new case. Let's install Gideon's, or rather Tom Wilson's, Ultimate 64 inside it, using those Pixel Wizard wizardly adapters. It's a mouthful. It's surprising now how light this is. Let's do a little comparison. Yeah. Put that on eBay. Started at 99 cents. Next stop, the MechBoard 64. Notice how everything is called 64? Ultimate 64, MechBoard 64, Bricks Key 4. Nice. And it brings everything together. Speaking of which, if all goes well here and I put the Bricks Key 4 set up for sale, I'm going to create a one-stop shop webpage where you can systematically grab your whole new C64 in just 4 steps. And that'll be live at perifractic.com, hopefully by the time you watch this. Axles crossed. Now the MechBoard even comes with a choice of LEDs to go under the caps lock to signify when it's on or off. Now captivating. And then these are the SLS 3D printed adapters that help the old keys, or the Lego keys, fit onto the new MechBoard switches. And so the moment of truth, we put the adapter into the Lego brick and push it down firmly onto the switch. Yes, solid fit.
Tell me what you want me to do.
But nobody said this was going to be easy. Whitkey Houston, we have a problem. Sorry, that was terrible. But so is this. The 3D printed adapters that convert the Gatoron axles to Commodore 64 axles are too tall when placed in the Lego bricks, due in part to the lip they have running around them. Now, although this video is about building a new Commodore 64, I want to be clear. If you just need to replace the keycaps on your old C64, this is the perfect solution. Your keycaps will look like this, they'll be square, and they'll fit perfectly onto the existing old Commodore 64 keyboard base. At my website, you'll see 2 distinct, different sets of keycaps, one for the old and one for the new. But if you're going for the MechBoard 64 and the all-new look, we're going to have to design something new. Basically, I have to reduce the height of all the keys on the keyboard, and the only way to do that is by using these 2x2 round Lego tiles. You saw them earlier in this video. By placing 2 of those in place of a full brick, it drops the height by about 5 millimeters. And then it's just a case of copy and paste. However, for these larger keys, we need to place a brick at the side to act as a stabilizer. And this is what we end up with. But we may as well turn this situation to our advantage. These are Lego, so we can choose from multiple colours. You could have something like this, or just original brown and grey or brown and orange. And if you're using the keys with an old keyboard, they'll look like this. The only difference is the bricks under the top printed tiles won't be colours, they'll all be black, and the function keys will all be grey. It's just a limitation of what bricks are available for those base parts, but you can order the top tiles in any colour that's available. So now we've designed it up, let's build it in real life. There's our two tiles. In goes the adapter that you'll get with the mech board. And the printed tile goes on top. Sort of reminds me of an old typewriter keyboard. And you can see here the height difference. Now we've lowered the key on the left compared to the one on the right. And the taller keys were also a little less stable because they were so far away from the switch. Now the spacebar is interesting. It has this metal stabilizing bar, and you'll get these additional adapters to go into the adapters. adapters. And what you do is slide those onto either end of the stabilizer bar. Let's build our spacebar here. And I don't mean Mos Eisley Cantina. Nice. Slide the other end on. Push it together firmly and fingers crossed. Actually, fingers tapping. I was amazed how much abuse you can give this thing. And the spacebar is nice, even and balanced. Now our return key with its plastic stabilizers. And I'm actually going to add one extra tile of height to those stabilizers so that they really do touch down onto the keyboard base. And we'll take off all our old keys, and here's our new function keys. Looks kind of interesting. Now these Lego tiles aren't always consistent in size, and occasionally the axle hole will be a bit too, well, loose. But what you can do is just put in a piece of tape or saran wrap and just thicken it up by a few microns. Makes all the difference. Alright, let's see my words per minute when it comes to assembly. Yeah, it was about 1 million words per minute. Okay, so the mech board connects here to the Ultimate 64 and rests into the Pixel Wizard adapters. The best of 3 worlds. In goes the case LED. Now, let's just get serious for a second. Full disclosure, I am the first to admit that these keys are not as good and will never be as good as real keyboard keys. For one thing, they are slightly loose. Although when I looked at the real keyboard, even those keys are a little loose. But definitely the Lego ones are far from perfect, but they do meet the criteria. So let's design up our serial number label. 1. Granted, the end result may not be quite as pretty as the stalled Indiegogo, but Legos can't be choosers. Sorry. Then again, they are nicely reminiscent perhaps of the very early silver label, squarish Commodore PET style keys. And honestly, I can't think of many combinations more nostalgic and retro than Lego and Commodores. Speaking of Commodores, the logo is still a trademark, and I've tried reaching out to the current rights holder, and unfortunately no response. So I think for now I'll just go with this Commodore styled C key. I guess they don't want to take my money. Speaking of which, I'll be selling these not for profit on my website, but if you do want to help out this small retro channel and help keep it alive, I would appreciate your support on PayPal or Patreon. Okay, so let's plug in the completely new Commodore 64. Oh, pardon me. Nothing. No power. Oh, I didn't turn the plug on. Sorry, okay, I'm nervous. This is a big moment. Now, I won't go into setting up the Ultimate 64 itself, as there's plenty of videos about that, but in short, I just flashed the kernel and the ROM from the USB stick in the back, and we're in business. And now for the all-important and so politically correct 9 to 5 typing tutor. Wish me luck. Or wish her luck. But not him. Creep. I love that the Ultimate 64 includes real disk drive sounds too. Insert cracking knuckles sound here. Hey, not bad. So my words per minute are essentially on par with the old keyboard. So there it is, the world's first completely new Commodore 64, fully compatible, 100% commercially available, with no part relying on old stock or defunct factories. Now I have no doubt that better options will come along in a year or 4, but for now, I hope this helps those of you who are looking for something better than this. Keep an eye on the description of this video too for all the recipe ingredients and links you need, but also for updates and developments on this project and this whole saga of trying to replace keycaps. Maybe something better will come along if you take a look down below. And you can order your Brix Key 4 keycap set right now from perifractic.com or bit.ly/BrixKey. And if you're quick, maybe you'll end up with the world's second completely new Commodore 64. If you like this project, hit like, hit subscribe, do all those things that help me keep making these for you. And what do you think of this nostalgic solution? Is it the key to the problem, or just a load of brick? Comment below, and cheerio. What do you mean I love it more than you? No, come back.